Jameis Winston wanted to eat a W, but Emil Lagasse got his order wrong and dished him an L instead. We talk Saints and more on the other side of the intro. Who that? Who that? Who that's saying gonna beat them Saints?
Well, not the Bucs.
No. Okay. Yeah. Just a little quick thoughts. Saints are officially 3-0 without Drew Brees.
Which actually kind of shocks me. Honestly, didn't have a lot of faith. Me personally, me being a Saints fan, I didn't have a lot of faith in Teddy Bridgewater. But at the same time, I knew that when Drew Brees was hurt and we found out that he was going to be out for around 6 games, I'm pretty sure Teddy Bridgewater stepped on that field with a chip on his shoulder because he had a lot to prove, not only to the league, but also to the front office that he is an NFL starter and he has what it takes to lead an NFL team. Well, I got to say he's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, and that and Sean Payton having to come up with a new game plan just out of thin air to really fit this new Saints offense under Teddy Bridgewater.
And what the NFL is like, it's more of like adapt or perish. And I have to say that Teddy Bridgewater, he did look shaky at first, but looking at how he played against a fairly tough Tampa Bay team, I have to say that Teddy has adapted very well to stepping into the starting role for the New Orleans Saints that's relied heavily on Drew Brees for over the past decade.
All right. Let's get into it. Okay, so as you can see, Teddy Bridgewater was 26 for 34 for 314 yards, 4 touchdowns and 1 interception. The rushing game was still a little bit off. Just 62 yards from Kamara and 28 from Murray. And Michael Thomas was the majority of the receiving for the Saints. Although I did see Jared Cook come through with some clutch plays, including his first touchdown as a Saint.
See, what I like about this game is that Teddy Bridgewater, he actually threw downfield.
He did. Yeah.
That was what really impressed me. And like we said on the last show, Teddy was out there playing like something was holding him back. Mm-hmm. And Teddy out there against Tampa Bay looked completely relaxed. He was completely comfortable, and he had full faith and confidence in his offense. And now the NFL sees, and yes, it's a Tampa Bay team. They can be fairly tough on whenever they want to show up. But still, I mean, this was a huge confidence booster, not only for Teddy, but for the whole Saints team, knowing that they can also rely on Teddy, say if something were to happen to Drew Brees. And now we see how Teddy can play when he's comfortable, when he's relaxed.
Mm-hmm. And like I mentioned, we saw some improvements out of Jared Cook. He actually caught some significant passes, including his first touchdown as a Saint, as opposed to he had been dropping a lot of passes in the previous few games.
I haven't seen a lot of Jared Cook, and there was a lot of excitement surrounding him. But he was kind of a disappointment for the first few games. But it was really good to see him come alive. Also, Michael Thomas proving why he is the $100 million man out there on the field.
Yeah, and Kamara is being himself. Like I said, there's still some room left to be desired from the running game. They did go over 100 yards as a team, but we have yet to see any one player to really run in on an opposing offense.
Well, I was completely impressed with was the defense. Defense has came alive in the past couple of games. I mean, like their last game against Dallas. They're going against one of the toughest offenses in the league. I mean, granted, Dallas only played the Giants, Miami, and Washington, and the way they held Dallas, and not only that, going against Tampa Bay, who hung 55 points on the LA Rams the other week. So seeing the Saints defense really come alive has really put some inspiration into that franchise.
Well, okay. I would like to get to the defense later. I want to still talk offense right now.
Oh, okay. I'm very excited.
Yeah, we'll get there. The defense is definitely exciting to watch, but I'm wondering what's up with the running game. Yeah, obviously has something to do a little bit with the offensive line, which I saw there was obviously fewer holding penalties from them. I don't know if they're turning a corner or what, or if the referees are just giving them a break.
Well, I think the offensive line is just trying to they're trying to find the balance between being aggressive, but at the same time trying to stay disciplined to not cost the Saints yards, because the Saints missed out on a lot of crucial opportunities against Dallas because of holding penalties.
Right, they would get a holding penalty, which would put them in 3rd and long, and at the time, Bridgewater was not throwing downfield as much, and that was obviously hindering their ability to convert on 3rd down, which I'll bring that graphic up in a bit. Once we finish talking defense, we'll talk the performance as a whole. But you know, I've heard people say that part of that has to do with Bridgewater holding on to the ball for too long, which he was getting rid of the ball quicker this game. But at the same time, I'm sitting there watching Matt Ryan and Deshaun Watson standing in the pocket holding on the ball for forever with no penalties. So
I think it might be a referee vendetta against the Saints, probably.
I don't know. Is there a problem with the Saints' technique? Are they just too? My question was, were they just too used to Drew, who would get it out in under 3 seconds, or is there, like I said, a vendetta against the Saints by the refereeing crew? Because, like I said, Watson and Ryan at times were holding the ball for forever and no penalties.
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. And I mean, referee vendetta, we can go on about the NFC Championship game from last season all we want, but it's not going to change what happened. Also, I mean, this is an offensive line that has, blocked for Drew for so long. And so they're used to that quick release, and they're used to Drew getting the ball out quick, fast, and in a hurry. So when Teddy held on the ball for too long, it kind of puts the offensive line in between a rock and a hard place.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing how Teddy has improved and seeing how much more comfortable he is, I don't think we'll have those problems with the offensive lineman. I believe that going forward, we're going to see the offense be a lot more in sync, which is scary because the offense was highly in sync against Tampa Bay. They put up how many total yards? I want to say about 400 or 500 total yards of offense.
Something like that.
And so we're definitely going to see them get more in sync as the season goes along, especially the games without Drew Brees. I mean, they got Jacksonville, Chicago, Arizona, and then after that, we should be getting Brees back.
Assuming that he doesn't come in ahead of schedule, there is that possibility. He was seen throwing a Nerf ball around just recently, so.
I mean, that just shows that Drew, he's ready to get back out there. He missed getting.
He can at least grip a Nerf ball, so.
Well, I mean, that's a long way from NFL football, though.
Yeah,
but still, improvement, slowly but surely. Well, I won't say slowly, but it's improvement.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you want to talk to defense? Let's talk defense.
Defense.
All right, the defense, like you said, was really good. I do have a point to make, but okay, 6 sacks. Rankins, Brown, Jordan, Carl Granderson out of Wyoming, rookie out of Wyoming, who's just fresh out of prison, by the way.
Yeah.
And then Marcus Davenport, the player everybody said was a waste of draft picks, had 2. And Davenport not only had 2 sacks, but also a forced fumble.
Marcus Davenport has really come along in this Dennis Allen-led defense. And I remember the NFL draft where the Saints traded up to get Marcus Davenport. Because when the Saints traded with Green Bay up in the first round, I was kind of curious on which player is so valuable to where you're going to trade up and get him. And they got Marcus Davenport. And I watched his film when he was at UTSA. And the kid is a freak of nature. Mm-hmm. And when I saw it, I'm like, we got more weapons on the defensive line. And so I'm highly impressed with Marcus Davenport. And he hasn't even reached his peak yet. And so that's a scary feeling because he's aggressive, he's fast. And so he brings that young energy to a highly volatile Saints defense.
Yeah, I know. What about Granderson getting his first sack? Like I said,
and this was his first game straight out of jail. So I don't know what it was. I mean, I just think it was that willingness to finally get out there. And I mean, mean, he was originally picked up by the Saints and then he got sent to jail. And so I'm pretty sure he was on a very short leash coming out. But at the same time, the Saints did need some help on the defensive lineman, and he went out there and contributed in a mighty way. And so he wanted to prove to that Saints, not only to his teammates, but also to the front office, that he deserves to be where he's at right now.
You know, assuming Carl Granderson is not a fluke, and obviously we're seeing the continued development of Marcus Davenport. Yeah, you're obviously going to have Cam Jordan, Sheldon Rankins,
and Malcolm Brown starting to come along.
Malcolm Brown starting to gel with his new team. You get Trey Hendrickson back maybe next week. David Amiata is on there. This front seven, you know, with the linebackers, DeMario Davis-Klein, haven't seen a whole lot of Alonzo at this point. But yeah, I mean, this front seven, as they develop a chemistry together and the younger players start to gain experience and become more consistent with their production, this front seven is going to be real scary towards the end of the season if they aren't already.
I mean, I think they're very scary now, but I mean, just wait until like a few weeks later. I mean, this front seven can probably go down as probably one of the deadliest in the league this season.
There's been some projections that perhaps they could become the NFL's best.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it at all. I mean, this front seven is just terrifying, and all that. I mean, and that type of vibe can also reach the secondary as well. You know how an offense, you know, a lot of people say that the run game opens up the passing game. Well, I mean, the energy and the play of the front seven can open things up for the secondary. Like having the momentum in the front seven can also lead to your secondary play as well, which is something that's needed because secondary play has always been very inconsistent over the years, including last year and then a little bit this season. And so it might, you know, the Saints defense as a whole, including the secondary, can turn out to be the NFL's best.
Right. And so they did shut down the running game pretty efficiently, held the entire team under 100 yards, almost 94. And that, you know, putting pressure on Winston consistently throughout the game, including 6 sacks, that definitely helped out the secondary, which, I mean, Marshawn Lattimore shut down Evans. He was targeted just 3 times the whole game, not a single catch, breaking the streak of 65 straight games with a reception.
Well, I mean, you do know that there's like a warrant out for Marshawn Lattimore's arrest. He's being charged for the disappearance of Amari Cooper and Mike Evans. It said that they had some interaction with Marshawn Lattimore shortly after coming to the Superdome, and they were not seen ever since. So if you have any whereabouts if you have any information on the whereabouts of Mike Evans and Amari Cooper, please call Crime Stoppers. If you have any evidence on the whereabouts of Marshawn Lattimore or where he may be, report it to the New Orleans Police Department or the FBI. There is a cash reward of Marshawn Lattimore's contract waiting for you. So please feel free to call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-CRIME-STOPPERS.
All right, let's take a look at the Saints versus the Buccaneers comparison. So New Orleans doubled their offensive production, more than doubled their passing yards. The source for this, I know Winston is officially credited as having 202 yards passing, but this is the source for this is NFL.com, so that's why this up there. Had slightly better rush yards, better average per play. Here's the difference for the Saints: 53% on third downs. That is compared to less than 30% conversions for the last 2 to 3 games.
And the Saints defense, and the Saints on both sides of the ball, they've had a hard time with third down conversions, especially the Saints defense getting off the field on third down. And that was kind of a problem the Saints been having, I want to say, all season.
And that, well, on both sides of the ball, now that you bring that up, because they had been terrible in the third down conversion. You know, with obviously the holding penalties and false starts, getting them in third and long situations where it's just like, okay, we're just gonna get in the best punting situation we can. But real improvement there.
But I mean, looking at how Teddy's playing now, they're like, okay, we can actually have a shot on third down, knowing what he can do. And I mean, of course, that was one of the main focuses going into this game was third down play.
Well, like I said, the reduction of penalties. The Saints only had 6 penalties this game versus like 9 against uh, Dallas, and then I want to say 11 against Seattle.
And so, I mean, discipline and third down.
13 or 15 against Los Angeles.
Which Jesus Christ.
That just destroyed any time the Saints got momentum in that game. And against Dallas too. Penalties killed them there as well.
And it caused the Saints to also leave points on the board.
You mean off the board?
Off the board.
Yeah.
You know what I meant.
I know what you meant, but I'm going to correct you anyway.
I'm a V8 slapping with this mic.
No, you could have had a V8, sir.
I had a coffee, though.
So did I. I also had
Colombian?
No, but I threw some hot cocoa mix in it.
I would try that one day.
So I officially had me a mocha. So, yeah.
He loves his coffee, especially iced coffee. Every time we have a meeting at CC's, he's always getting iced coffee. I don't know why people want to drink that coffee cold. They don't cold coffee out like it's Frappuccino. Anyways.
But, back to that comparison. This was obviously the Saints' best overall production as a team. Offense and defensive production. The defense has been just outstanding the last 2 games. My biggest problem with the defense still is that they have yet to find a way how to close out games. The game against Seattle and the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, score-wise, was a lot closer than the game actually was. So closing the game out still remains an issue for me.
Well, they'll have a chance to be able to do that. If things don't get out of hand against Jacksonville. Jacksonville not having Nick Foles and Gardner Minshew has come alive as one of the better young emerging quarterbacks in the league. But, Jacksonville still has a lot of holes in their game. So that game could probably get out of hand. If not, I believe that it's going to be an emphasis that Sean Payton is going to practice them on during the week before they head to Jacksonville.
Yeah, well, since you're bringing Jacksonville, I guess let's close this thing out and look up at their next 4 games. So at Jacksonville, October 13th, then they go to Soldier Field, and they're at home against the Cardinals, and then finally, after a bye week, home against Atlanta in what is currently projected to be Drew's return.
How early do you think Drew might come back?
I would not be surprised if he returns for the Cardinals game. I think it'll be a stretch to get him back for Chicago, but I would not be surprised if he's back for Arizona.
I would love to have Drew back. Sooner than later, but at the same time, I would rather Drew come back against Atlanta, and he's no doubt 100% ready to go out there, ready to lock and load, than get him back sooner, but he's not yet 100%, and he's still dealing with problems with his thumb. So we would love for Drew to come back earlier, but don't be surprised if you don't see him until November 10th. But one game that I am kind of worried about that this is going to test how good the Saints really are is when they go to Soldier Field against Chicago. And in my opinion, Chicago has probably the top defense in the league. The front 7 is completely dangerous. So this is
they did just recently lose to the Raiders.
They did, but
that's not a knock on their defense. That defense is still solid, but they're beatable.
They are beatable, but Khalil Mack just seems to be unblockable, and he's one of those defensive ends that you just cannot neutralize no matter what you do. I watch a lot of his film, and I can see why Chicago pays him the way they do.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see who the Saints end up putting on him. If it's Ramczyk, I have a lot of confidence in that. If it's Armstead, Armstead is still Armstead, but he's struggled at times this year.
Teron Armstead has struggled at times this season, but because
he had, for example, he had problems against Robert Quinn.
Yeah, that is true, but Teron Armstead, I'm gonna go back to his combine, but coming out of Arkansas Pine Bluff, Teron Armstead ran, I want to say, a 4.7. Mm-hmm. So because of how quick Khalil Mack is, I would say Teron Armstead will probably be the better option because of how fast he is. So I mean, Ryan Ramczyk, I mean, I have faith in Ryan Ramczyk as well because of how strong he is, but because of the quickness of Mac, I would say Teron Armstead would probably be the lesser of the two evils, in my opinion.
I don't know, man. Ramczyk has a lot going for him right now. J.J. Watt is having a monster year.
And Ryan Ramczyk shut him down.
And Ramczyk shut him down. But, Watt's been incredibly effective since then. Ramczyk held Lawrence in check.
And now that I think about it, because he did hit.
You didn't hear much from Sue either.
Oh, we didn't hear from Sue at all. I mean, we didn't even how many times did we hear from DeMarcus Lawrence when the Cowboys came to the Dome?
0.
And the only thing that Watt did for Houston when they went to the Dome as well, Watt created some type of penetration that resulted in a holding call. But that was pretty much it. Watt didn't get. I don't even think he even got a tackle in that game. So
no, he didn't even get a pressure.
So Ramczyk completely shut him down. So now that I think about it, and now that you kind of put it to me, because I was looking at Teron Armstead's speed, but Teron Armstead has kind of, I would say, God forbid, I don't want to say digress, but I mean that's probably the best way to do it. I mean, Armstead has dealt with injuries in the past, and so if you put those factors together, I would say Ryan Ramczyk would probably be the best option. And you just opened my eyes to something. Thank you so much. That's why I really love this guy. He's awesome. Ryan Ramczyk will probably be the best guy on Khalil Mack.
Yeah. Okay. Drew might return for Arizona. If he doesn't, the Cardinals aren't good. They got their first win of the season against a very terrible Cincinnati team.
Barely.
Who could probably go winless along with Miami.
Now against Arizona, basically this is a game of for the Saints defense. Can you stop a fifth grader?
Like you told me earlier, you shut down Kyler Murray, you shut down the entire offense.
Pretty much. That is easy. And considering how good this front seven is for the Saints, that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. Okay. Still looking forward to Drew and his return. Although the Saints look really, really good without him. So when they get him back, if it's the same old Drew, which I expect nothing less, it's thumb injury. It's not like roto cuff or anything.
If the Saints can win the remaining 3 games without Drew, then the whole league is probably going to be like, well.
Just think about this, man. Just in the closing segment. Saints, like we said, are 3-0 without Breeze. Everybody was saying if they could just win 3 of the 6 games, that they would be in good position. Right now, they're in complete control of the NFC South and are in right up there in contention for the number 1 seed.
And the only other team
without Breeze.
The only other team that they're in contention with would be the San Francisco 49ers, who are balling right now. But I mean, without just to think, without Breeze, they're in contention for number 1 seed. And there's 3 games left without Breeze. 3 winnable games. 2 for sure. If the Saints can go 6-0 without Breeze, it's like the league's going to think, well, we can't beat them when they have Breeze. We can't beat them without Breeze. Breeze is back. Yeah. The whole NFL is going to be like, when they hit the Dome or they see the Saints, all right, I'm going to head out. That's pretty much going to be the mentality.
Yeah.
The Saints can look like one of the most unbeatable teams in the league because it's like we can't beat them with Breeze. We can't beat them without Breeze.
We'll know if something's up if you see one of the referees just kind of stick his foot out and try to trip Breeze up.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely going to know something is up. But, I mean, Bridgewater came into this with a chip on his shoulder because he had to prove that he has what it takes to be a starter. Not only that, I mean, he's on a 1-year, $15 million contract. $15 million is a lot for 1 year. So he had to prove to the front office why he was worth the contract. And he's also going to prove why he wants to prove why he should be the quarterback of the future and why he should stay after next season. Right now, Teddy's on track to be able to solidify his spot as a Saints quarterback in the future, and he's doing a pretty good job. So, Teddy, keep it up.
All right, so that wraps up this episode. Follow us on Twitter at AISNCC. Find us on Facebook, AI Sports, Cajun Connection, or check out our website, aisportsnetwork.com. I'm John.
I'm Josh.
You've been watching AI Sports Production. See you next time.
Bye, you filthy animals.